Whether you lost out a promotion at the office or you failed to get qualified for a marathon, failing feels bad. Most of us know that failure is a reality of life. And at some level, we understand that it actually helps us grow. Deep in our minds, we acknowledge that the greatest achievers in the past or nowadays have experienced failure. But still, we hate it when we fail. We fear it, we dread it, and when it does happen, we hold on to it. We give it power over ourselves. And sometimes, we let it control our destiny. Some of us go to great lengths to avoid failure because of the pain and shame associated with it. Knowing how to cope with failure in a healthy way distracts the accompanying fear, and it might reduce the pain so you can move on. Here are a few healthy ways to cope with failure. But before we move on, we need your support by subscribing and clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. 1. New point of view. Our upbringing has given us an unhealthy attitude towards failure. One of the best things you can do is to change your perspective and belief system and distract negative thoughts. So instead of saying, if I fail, it means I'm stupid, weak, incapable, and I'm destined to fall short, embrace a more positive mindset and say, if I fail, I will eventually succeed. I'm smarter and more savvy due to the knowledge I've gained through this experience. Indeed, one can hardly find a historic success story that isn't also a story of great failure. And if you ask those who have distinguished themselves through their success, they will tell you that failure was a critical enabler of their success. It was their motivator, a stepping stone along their path to greatness. The difference between them and the ordinary person is that they did not take failure for granted. 2. Embrace your emotions. Failure is accompanied by a variety of emotions: embarrassment, anxiety, anger, and sadness. Those feelings are uncomfortable, and many people will do anything they can to escape feeling emotional discomfort. A recent study suggests you should not try to slough off feeling bad after failure. Researchers discover that thinking about your emotions rather than the experience of failure itself is most helpful. Allowing yourself to feel bad is motivating. It can help you work harder to find better solutions so that you can improve next time. So go ahead, embrace your emotions, acknowledge how you're feeling, and let yourself feel bad for a bit. Label your emotions and allow yourself to experience them. 3. Boost self-confidence. Low self-esteem is like driving through life with your handbrake on. Maxwell Maltz says, nobody is born with limitless self-confidence. If someone seems to have incredible self-confidence, it's because he or she has worked on building it for years. Self-confidence is something that you learn to build up, because the challenging world of business and life in general can deflate it. We have to deal with our inner self-doubt that constantly tells us we're not good enough. When bombarded by so many elements that threatens our self-confidence, we need to take charge of building it up for ourselves. 4. Recognize unhealthy attempts to reduce pain. You might be tempted to say, I did not actually want that job anyway, but minimizing your pain won't make it go away. Distracting yourself or filling the void you feel with food or alcohol won't heal your pain either. Those things will only provide you with some temporary relief. Recognize the unhealthy ways you try to avoid or minimize pain in your life. Turning to coping skills that do more harm than good will only make your situation worse. 5. Practice healthy coping skills. Calling a friend, practicing deep breathing, taking a bubble bath, going for a walk, or playing with your pet are just a few examples of healthy coping skills. Not every coping skill works for everyone. However, it's important to find coping skills that will work for you. If you struggle with bad habits when you're stressed out, like smoking or eating junk food, create a list of healthy coping skills and hang it in a near place. Then, use your list to remind you of the healthier strategies you can turn to when you're feeling bad. 6. Acknowledge irrational beliefs about failure. You may have developed some irrational beliefs about failure at some point in your life. Perhaps you think failure means you're bad or that you'll never succeed. Or maybe you think no one will like you if you fail. Those types of beliefs are inaccurate, and they can prevent you from doing things as a reaction for fear. 7. Develop realistic thoughts about failure. People were more likely to sabotage themselves when they were convinced a mistake led them to ultimate failure. When you find yourself thinking that you're a helpless cause or that there's no use in trying again, reframe your thoughts. Remind yourself of more realistic thoughts about failure, such as, I can handle failure. I can learn from my flaws. Failure is a sign that I'm challenging myself to do something difficult. You may need to repeat a phrase or affirmation to yourself to get rid of negative thoughts or to reinforce to yourself that still you can rise again. 8. Accept an appropriate level of responsibility. It's important to accept an accurate level of responsibility for your failure. Taking on too much responsibility may cause you to unnecessarily blame yourself. On the other hand, blaming other people or unfortunate circumstances on your failure will prevent you from learning from it. When you think about your failure, look for explanations, not excuses. Identify the reasons you failed and acknowledge what you can do differently next time. 9. Research famous failures. From Thomas Edison to Walt Disney, there's no shortage of famous failures. Spend some time researching famous people who have failed. You'll likely find that they failed many times along the way. Many successful people continue to fail regularly. Actors get rejected for roles. Athletes get cut from the team. And business owners get turned down for deals. Study what they did to reverse failure. You might learn skills that can help you in your own life. 10. Ask yourself what you can learn. Failure can be a great teacher if you're open to learning. Did you make a mistake? Did you make a series of mistakes? Think about what you could do differently next time. Then, you will ensure your failure has become a life lesson that helped you learn something. 11. Create a plan for moving forward. Replaying your failure in your mind over and over again won't do you any good. Don't allow